Let's talk about my pulling plans, because for the first time I'm not entirely sure what I want to do. The last character I pulled for was Tribi because she was too broken to pass up on, and I ended up going for her E1. I have a video of my summons if you want to see how that went. Now I'm looking at Casterus, Anaxa, Hyacine, and Cypher as the next 4 banners, and none of those characters seem that interesting to me, which means I gotta factor in future characters into account. So this video is gonna contain leaks. If you don't like leaks, then maybe click off now, because it's almost impossible for me to discuss my pulling plans without mentioning any leaks. Anyways, we know Casterus' entire kit because all the early access videos are out, and it seems like she will need a sustain on the team, which is unfortunate. And it also seems like her best in slot sustain will be Hyacine. So if I decide to pull for Casterus, I may be forcing myself to get Hyacine as well. And as it stands now, both Casterus and Hyacine would massively benefit from their light cones, further adding to the expenses. I don't think I can afford all that, unfortunately, so I'm inclined right now to skip both of them. Though if Hyacine works well with Blade, I may consider her. It'll mostly come down to how much damage she can do and how much support she provides, because she's fighting for a spot with Gallagher or Bronya, so she needs to provide more to the team than either of those. Alright, now we're going into the leaks territory. Apparently, as it stands now, Hyacine's Light Cone is the only way she can provide team-wide HP drain, and since that Light Cone can be used on any Remembrance unit, that means I could theoretically put that Light Cone on RMC for my Blade team, and I could turn RMC into an HP drainer. So this means I could just go for the Light Cone, Hyacine's Light Cone, and skip Hyacine herself. But then the drawback would be then the sustainless RMC team would be harder to sustain because I have another source of HP drain, so maybe in the end I'll need a sustain either way. But it's like an interesting thought that they're locking the HP drain behind Hyacine's Light Cone. At least that's how it is at the moment. Things might change. As for Casterus and Cypher, since both of them are quantum DPS units, and I already have Zeala and I have Jade, I really don't need them. I already have the quantum coverage secured, so I can't justify either one of them. Now for Anaxa, he's gonna be Big Herda's best in slot support, but again, I have Jade, so I can't justify pulling Anaxa. Also, another leak incoming. Allegedly, Cyrene is going to be an ice DPS unit who will power creep everything in existence. Apparently she's on a level higher than Emanators. And if Emanators are already all so powerful, imagine someone even stronger than an Emanator. So if we are going to get a Big Herda power creep, then I might as well just jump ship right now and wait for Cyrene. And also because Big Herda, even without Anaxa right now, is clearing content very well. And so maybe she will start to fall off and will require Anaxa, but at this moment I'm not really worried about my Big Herda performance. And added to that, if they're going to release an even stronger ice DPS unit, then I might as well just leave her as she is now and wait for Cyrene. Again, this is just my plans. You don't have to follow this. I really don't care about Anaxa. Also, Anaxa seems to be wind, and I already have Blade and Fei Xiao, so I don't really need another wind DPS. So all of that added together makes me not really want to pull for Anaxa. I do know he has all that weakness implant thing, and that could be useful, but I don't know. I have enough type coverage. My account's over 2 years old that I don't really need it. But I might come to eat my words later. Okay, so if I am skipping all of 3.2 and all of 3.3, then what about 3.4? So again, we're going into leaks, but in 3.4 we are getting Phynon, supposedly the Emanator of Destruction, and he's gonna have another global passive. And I think he's gonna be Physical Destruction, and if that's true, he'll be very useful for my account because I currently do not have any physical DPS units at all. And the early leaks suggest that he has like a form changing mode where he can like change forms. And apparently he's supposed to look really cool. So, you know, he's an Emanator, global passive. I might consider him. But then again, if I'm getting Finon, apparently in 3.5, he's getting a dedicated Harmony support, Ceridra. And so I might need to pull for that as well. But I'll probably pull regardless because so far every Harmony character has been a game changer. Anyways, going back to 3.4, we are getting the Fate collab. And to be honest, I have no faith in collab characters at the moment because of my previous experience with Aloy. I just can't see them being anything special because they're limited time only. And I also don't know anything about the Fate universe, so I have no emotional attachment to the characters. So for me, the Fate collab is nice and it's cool, but I'm not really gonna sink my teeth into them. Maybe they'll turn out to be really, really cool though. So I don't know. Right now I have no interest, but as more info comes out, maybe I'll change my mind. That takes us into the later 3.x patches. So we know in 3.5 we're getting Ceridra, which is supposed to be Finon's best in slot support. She's going to be Harmony apparently. So that alone makes her very high on the priority list. And then apparently we're also getting another DOT unit. Apparently a Kafka power creep or something. Sounds interesting. She could be the crit based DOT unit that we're waiting for. And if that's so, then I might be interested. And then after that, I think in 3.6, we're getting a 5-star version of March 7th, who is supposedly a Remembrance support. And if all the talk about RMC getting a 5-star version, what if March 7th is the 5-star RMC? And if that's so, then she will also be really busted. And then obviously in 3.7, we're supposed to get Cyrene, who is a tier above Emanators. Obviously she's going to be busted, probably a level that we haven't seen before, which is scary to think because the level's already so high. Maybe instead of a global passive, she's just going to have like a universal passive. I don't even know what that would be. Anyways, so because of how loaded the back half of version 3 is, I might want to start mega saving and wait for those units. But then version 4 will be on the horizon and more power creep might come in, and so I might just save until version 4, but then version 5, blah blah blah. I'm just kidding. I think my priority will be Finon, because I do need a physical unit. Right now I have no physical unit built. Ceridra, because she is Harmony. Then 5-star March, because she is a support, apparently. And then Cyrene, because she'll be the next greatest DPS unit. And then if the DOT character looks really fun, I may consider her. Because I do want to dip my toes into DOT, but Kafka Black Swan just wasn't it. So if there's a new character that can revitalize DOT, then it might sound interesting. Especially if they can make DOTs crit, then we have much more potential there. Because I think DOT is capped by their ceiling damage. Just because they can't crit, so there's only that much damage you can do with them. But if you can let them crit, then we can start ramping up the damage big time. Also, if Hyacine turns out to be Blade's missing piece, then I obviously will consider her. It's just, if she's just another premium sustain, then there's really no need, because I don't really need a sustain. I'm playing Blade sustainless. However, if having Hyacine on Blade's team performs better than a sustainless Blade team, obviously I'm going to pull for Hyacine, right? Like, I'd rather get comfort and power over just power. But if the comfort trades, like if we're trading power for comfort, then I'd rather keep the power. Because the faster you kill the enemies, the shorter the fight is. And the less sustain you'll need. Anyways, that's how my plans are looking at right now. Now for the 50-50 Lost Pool selection, I will be putting Blade in over Yanqing, because I still do not have a single copy of Yanqing, and I'd rather keep it that way, so there's no point keeping him in there. And I'll also replace Gepard with Fu Shren, because I don't use Gepard, but I do use Fu Shren, so I don't really mind getting a few Eidolons for her. I am not going to be putting Zila in there, because her Eidolons are really bad. So yeah, right now it's looking like I'm skipping 3.2 and 3.3. The only thing is Hyacine could change my mind depending on how broken she is. But if she's not really that broken, then I don't really have a reason to pull for her. I also don't really care about her design. She just looks like Barbara 2.0. But things will change as I find out more about future units. This is all the info I have on hand right now and the decisions I'm making because of that. So, yeah. Just thought I'd share my thought process.